Welcome to another episode, a very special episode of In Conversation with an Expert. Today we're doing it on a Saturday afternoon because it is Valentine's weekend, and so I knew that I wanted to bring something a little bit special, a little bit different to you here this weekend, and I'm excited about today's live for many reasons. Firstly, I get to do this with my best friend, my sister, Melek Erdal, who I know as Mel and who you guys know as Mel's Place East, and it means so much to me to be able to do this live with her because these are two of our passions coming together, colliding for the first time. She has such love for food, for community, for bringing people together. It's just something that comes so naturally to her, and I am so excited to be sharing in this passion in a slightly different way with her, because normally I'd be the one scoffing all the food but of course, given the circumstances and the situation that we find ourselves in now, we're doing this a bit differently. But we wanted to share what an average conversation with Mel and I in the kitchen is normally like when we are together. So I'm really excited to bring this to you for that reason. And as I said, the second reason why this is so special is because we are having to do things differently now. We are having to think outside the box as to how to remain connected with the people that are important in our lives, how to remain connected with our dating lives as well. And how do we still create a deep connection, a meaningful and purposeful connection with the people that we're meeting right now. So today you have two options. You can cook along with us live, or you can watch and join in the conversation. Please let us know that you're here. Let us know what your thoughts are about what we're speaking about, what we're cooking together, and then perhaps watch the replay of this and do this as a live Valentine's date with your Valentine tomorrow. So there's lots of options here. So thank you so much for everyone that is joining us, and I'm going to add Mel to the conversation. Hopefully we should see her shortly. And it says waiting for Mel. So yeah, let me know. Hello.
Oh.
What was that for?
I wasn't expecting it. I just went to grab a banana.
As you do. How are you?
I'm alright, babe. I was just toasting some nuts.
Of course. Here, mine, chopped and ready.
Oh, you're more ready than I am.
I thought we were
so
joking about before we started this that yeah, this is going to be interesting for me. So firstly, cooking is not my forte. Secondly, trying to do this while having a conversation with Mel is going to be interesting. So wish me luck, guys.
Oh, hi,
Hello,
I see Tuchile. I see Rashmi, Priya.
Yeah. Rose is here.
Oh, Rose
is here. Hello, Rose. We've got
Wish we could
Boys
do...
Hungry Fats here.
Yeah, that's Fatma. Oh, hey, lovely. She's there as well.
And Emil CFC, Heidi Hussein. We've got the Blindin Project have joined us and doing a live watch party with them tomorrow evening, which is going to be really cool. Awesome. Well, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. So we're doing flatbreads today. And the reason I thought, because you know when we were talking about what we should do today, but still managed to have a chat,
yes.
I thought flatbreads are really good because it's versatile with filling. So once you're comfortable doing the dough, you can go crazy with what filling you use. So I just think it's just a fun thing to do if you're thinking about something to do with someone else. So if you wanted to do because right now we're not able to connect with people in person, but for example I was doing a Zoom with friends the other day, which was nice, and you could do this as a date or someone you miss spending time with, you know, you could do this online and it's super fun. And yeah, you can be really versatile with the filling, and I really, really love it. You can have it for breakfast, you can have it for dinner if you make a really nice salad with it. So, and the dough is really easy. It's like, it's not possible to get it wrong. I shouldn't have said that.
Watch me prove her wrong.
Okay, so have you got your flour?
Yes.
Yeah?
I've got plain and I've got wholemeal.
Okay, good. So we want, what I put up on the recipes different ways you can measure, because, you know, not everyone has a scale. I don't really bother with a scale most of the time anyway. So it's essentially 4 tablespoons of each flour. Okay, 4 heaped tablespoons.
So that's 100 grams?
Huh? Yeah.
100 grams of
Yeah.
both flours, yeah?
Yeah, of both. 100 grams, 4 heaped tablespoons, or half a mug.
This is the great thing about Mel. She has like such versatile measurements, which is really, really cool, because it makes cooking so much more accessible to so many of us, I think, when we...
Yeah, I you know how I'm all about making cooking accessible, babe, because I think anyone can cook, and anyone can cook amazing food, and the less measurements, the better.
Exactly.
Right. So once you've got 1, 2, 3, keep some extra flour aside for dusting your surface when you're going to need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So just don't put your flour away. Have some there ready for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me just tip this just so you can. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So now, pinch of salt. There.
Pinch of salt.
Yeah. Like a generous pinch, because
Oh,
we're
okay.
at maybe like 2 pinch.
Second one's gone in.
Yeah, because that's the thing that's adding flavor to your flour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And we want a pinch of sugar, because again, it just adds some flavor and some balance and yeah, some sweetness. But you don't have to.
Yeah.
But it just also, what the sugar does is help keep the dough soft. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So
it helps.
two of those as well.
No, just a teaspoon of that.
Okay.
Just a pinch. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically. This is how simple this dough is, right? Okay. What we want is get a 1/3 cup of room temp water. Yeah.
I'm gonna go out of shot for a second.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we should at the same time. We'll keep everyone
Now. There you go. Mine's not quite room temperature.
Don't worry, mine won't be either, because.
Is that okay?
Yeah. That's too much water anyway.
Okay.
We won't be using that much.
Okay.
Yeah. Literally, look how much I've got. We're not even
Alright.
going to use that much. Look, because we've not got a lot of flour.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone's flour is a little different. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we're going to go little by little, so don't worry about measurements anyway. We're going with how the dough is going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And everyone's flour is a little different, so it will absorb a little less or a little more anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is just drizzle a little bit at a time, keep stirring and kneading, and we're looking at how well it's absorbed and it's fully formed as a dough. We want it to be a little bit sticky, but not like mud, right? Like, we want it to feel like a fully formed dough. So that's what we're going to do. Create a little puddle in the middle. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Using a spoon. I might see if I can tip so you can see it. Is that too close?
I can see. Yeah, just move it back there. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just drizzling a little bit in. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Start stirring in. And then you can start using your fingers in a bit anyway. Okay, drizzle a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now that it's starting to clump together, yeah?
Yeah.
and start using your hands.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah. That's cool. Okay.
How's it looking?
It's still a bit dry. I think I need to
Yeah?
go with a
Keep
little bit more
adding.
water. Yeah. I'm going to grab some more water. 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a message there that Rose said she's cooking along with the boys.
Oh,
Hey,
great. Hey,
kids.
boys. Hey,
Hello,
Alexander.
Rose. Hello, Alexander. Hi, Isaac. That's just for everyone who's wondering who we're talking to. We come as a trio. So there's Mel, there's Rose, and myself. And Rose has just shown in the comments that she's joining us with her sons, which is really special. Makes this even more special for us.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
I need a lot more water.
okay, are you sure?
Well, it's just really dry.
Okay, just keep adding. So my one's formed a dough. Do you see? Do you guys? Yeah. It's a little sticky,
Okay,
but I can work with it.
Okay.
Right, so I'm taking it out of the bowl for now. So I'm going to knead it a little bit. I'm going to do that so you guys can see. Right, so you can see it's sticky, but it's workable.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm doing, so I fold and then press down with the palm of my hand. Fold over, press down. Fold over, press down. And we don't want to overwork this dough. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Because we don't want it too glutinous, right? We don't want the gluten forming too much because we need it to stretch out easily, right? And it's going to be really thin and soft.
Mine still feels a little bit dry, although as I'm working
Let me see, show me.
Oh,
that's good.
Is that all right?
Just maybe a tad more. No, I think that's good, babe.
Yeah? No.
It feels dry to you?
Just the snack test.
My nuts. I was toasting my nuts. I forgot them.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, are they okay?
Oh, I think they're all right.
All right.
They're a bit over toasted.
What nuts are they? I can't tell.
Hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts. Nice. I thought it would be wrong of me to do any other nut, but the pistachio for you, Mel.
Okay. All right. So we're not overworking it, yeah?
Yeah, it's feeling better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feels better?
Yeah.
You can use a little bit more water if you want.
I don't think I need to because as I'm just kneading it, the moisture's coming out a bit more.
Okay, good. All right. So once that's formed, you use the sides of your palms to squeeze under, tuck under and twist, tuck under and twist, like this. Yeah? And that's it. You don't want to overwork the dough. Okay? So I'm going to put this in the bowl and cover with a damp cloth, okay? Because we don't want it forming a crust, right? And so we need it to rest for about 30 minutes, but because of, this live, we might be using it earlier, but when you're making it yourself at home, you have more time, just the more you rest it, the softer it will be.
Okay, I think Always Hungry Fats is saying, what does that do, Melek? So I think that's in reference to the damp cloth.
Yeah, it just means that it's not forming a dry cut crust on the outside. I'm
going to grab myself the damp cloth. 1 second.
Just sprinkle some water on the cloth, it's fine. Yeah, you can use cling film if you want as well.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to do that. I think that will be better.
Yeah?
Not got quite cling film.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So now we can prepare. Okay. Fats is asking the folding you did, hun, just before you placed it in the bowl. Oh, that's what she's asking. Okay, let me show you again, yeah? Okay. Can you see here?
Yeah, you can see that.
So you take from the top, fold, and press down with your palm. And then you can take from the side, fold, press down with your palm. Yeah, and you can just twist it fold, turn, like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, I feel like I need to do more of that.
To just make it a little smoother.
Yeah. So press down with your palm of your hand.
How's everyone's looking?
Mine is on its way to looking like yours. Hang on, I'm doing the press and fold. Press and fold. I still feel like maybe mine is a little dry.
Yeah?
I think I could go with having a bit more moisture.
Yeah, add a little more moisture, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just a tad. Okay? And then you to rest.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a chopping board quickly.
Feels good. Guys, whoever's watching along with us, if you do have questions for Mel about the fun-filled flatbreads, that is such a mouthful. Do let us know. Do ask us. Mel, whilst I have you there looking so pretty into the camera, why food? Why is it such an area of passion for you? Big question.
It's a big question. I think it's the first language I was able to like communicate in, really. You know, when we moved here, I was 4, you know, and language was always some kind of like one person wasn't speaking it all the time. So, you know, I couldn't speak Kurdish when we were in Turkey. And then when we came here, parents couldn't speak English really. And I had to learn English as well, obviously. And so there were other ways to connect with people all the time. And I saw mum and dad use that a lot as a way to become, well, you know, they got into food for work because it was, you know, as immigrants, they couldn't do the jobs they did before. So food became, you know, people set up businesses, opening kebab shops, which dad has. And so it became a way to connect with the community around you. So I saw them do that. And it also became a way for us to connect with immigrant communities around us. So we'd get together and cook communally. So I always grew up seeing the powerful tool that food was in connecting everyone and keeping everyone connected. And, you know, we'd give food to our neighbours, and it became the way we got friendly with neighbours, because they couldn't do it with, you know, talking, you know. Parents couldn't do that. So it became a thing, and it became my natural thing to do. And I remember in school, I don't know if you remember, babe, people used to come over to my house and make them sandwiches.
Oh, of course, these sandwiches. Mel's infamous sandwich.
Yeah, and that's how, like, yeah, it was just a natural thing to me. And I think over the years it became just a way that I like excuses to get people together and meet people. And then with all the community work that I would do over the years, I would find that anyone else who struggled to communicate for one reason or another would let their guard down when cooking. I just think it's just such an authentic way to connect with someone that has no other agenda. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I think especially because it's a universal language, isn't it? As you said, it's like everyone needs food for sustenance. Most cultures, I think, it's such a tribal thing as well, right? The family getting around the fire, making food together, but then also going on to do something that you do so well and is such a passion of yours, which is to share stories, right? To share stories together and to learn about each other and come closer together by that sharing of stories. So
storytelling is such a huge thing, babe, for our culture, for our community, and I know for yours as well, because when you come from backgrounds where we don't have a lot of written history, well, from my background anyway, you do thrive, you know, and you rely on stories to keep your sense of identity alive, your sense of self, because you don't recognize yourself in a lot of books. So if you're not seeing you in books, it's to hear stories from family members or from other people and feel connection through those stories. That's how you keep things alive, you know. I mean, hearing stories from mum and dad about great uncles, like they're legendary, like these are heroes, is so cool. But I wouldn't get these from our books, you know, from books. So I just think, and it's a more organic way to keep things alive. And I think food, that's the other reason I probably like food. Hey Mira, I see Mira on there.
Oh, hello, Mira.
Like Mira saying, I always bond with my grandmother while she cooks and teaches me. And I miss that now. Yeah, I totally get that. Like, it's just, food is a way of telling a story. Food is a way of preserving history as well. Sometimes a more powerful way, right? Because I just think they survive, they outlive books, you know. Recipes are just travel over time, and they absorb new people's stories in them. And then I just think, so when you're cooking something, like, I just think you could be doing an act of telling someone's story without realizing, you know, like these flatbreads. I spent the summer with these amazing women who came here from the villages. They didn't give me a recipe because they don't have a recipe. They just do stuff by eye. And in seeing how they were doing things, I was just like, okay, I'll go experiment, and I see what I've learned from, and take a bit from what I've learned from them, and then just create my own recipe from it. But so here's the story carrying on.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's so beautiful, because I think, you know, so many times when our parents or our aunts or uncles or whatever have made something, and it's because it was something that they used to eat as children, or, you know, their parents passed down to them, and there is so much history just trapped into that one bottle of preserve, or whatever it might be, or that chutney, which is really, really beautiful. And then, of course, we get to bring our own twist to that.
Right.
And it becomes something else, and it becomes an extension of that story, which I think is so, so beautiful. So, and what a bonding experience that is, like, to be in the kitchen with your family. And of course, like, this is bittersweet, right? Because we would normally be doing this in person, right? There's been so many times where Mel's mostly cooking, I'm like making a hash of chopping onions or something in the background. But then we'll have these moments where we'll just do exactly this. We'll lean against the countertop, along, you know, against the worktop, and we'll chat, and we'll catch up, and we'll have some epic conversations.
Last, one of my favorite memories, it was a while ago now, was coming over for food, and your mum and dad had cooked, and they made pani puri, which was amazing. And ladyfingers?
Yes. Okra.
Okra. And then they did that aubergines with the coconut. Right? And it was just,
I remember we were making the chapati as well, and you joined in.
Mush is here. I delivered some baklava to Mush yesterday.
How was it, Mush?
Do you know what? Talking about how, like, food connects. We hadn't met. We were just talking online. He said, like, how can I get some of your baklava? I was like, okay. And I baked a couple, and we had to go, okay, where are we meeting? Okay, this is where we can meet. So we were meeting out in the street. And as I was going, I was like, safety wise, I don't know. Like, for him, like, he's trusting me, I'm trusting him. But it was really super cool.
Mush, you'll have to tell us how the baklava was. I know, I can say firsthand that the vegan baklava that you made for us for Christmas was so delicious. Like, we don't even have that much of a sweet tooth in this family, but we demolished it in a few days. Which is good.
Anyway, we should make filling, guys. So what have you decided? You're going to make a sweet one?
Yeah, okay. I just said I don't have a sweet tooth, but actually it involves chocolate, so why not?
What are you going to put in yours,
so I've got chocolate, I've got the everything that you shared about the cinnamon sugar as well.
Okay.
I've got the caster sugar. I've got cinnamon. I was thinking maybe I could make it a bit Indian by having cardamom as well
Oh,
in there.
that'd be delicious. I love cardamom.
Yeah, so
Everything.
there's that,
Yeah.
and I've got the pistachios, of course.
Because you've got everything, like the thing is, if you've got your stations ready, you've got everything perfect. Oh, you got tahini and you got good one. Yeah. Then you don't really need to. There's no filling to prepare. For the guys who are making savoury ones, I'm gonna show you quickly how to prepare the filling for the savoury one. Yeah.
Yeah, Rashmi's saying yummy baklava, Mel. Thank you. It's got a drooling face there.
Thanks, Rose. So I like my breads with a bit of feta cheese, but you don't have to put feta cheese at all. I like a bit of fresh chili in there, some finely chopped fresh chili, spring onions, some chili flakes, some olive oil, some fennel, toasted fennel or cumin seeds, and then you mix that with a generous glug of olive oil that I'm going to show you.
Nice.
And that's it. So you don't need the feta cheese. You can use a vegan alternative cheese as well. It's such a versatile thing, but it's lovely without too, with just whatever spices you're comfortable with. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So finally, let me just push it back a little bit so you can see on the screen. I'm going to finely chop some chili.
Nice. Foul Mouse Food says, sounds amazing. I'm going to end up jealous and hungry to not be eating this, aren't I?
Hey, Melissa! It's so good to see you on here.
Don't worry, this replay will be recorded and it will be saved. So feel free to jump back into this and make this and let us know how you get on. Take some pictures and tag us in. This would be so amazing for us to see your final pieces.
Just for anyone who's joined, because Melissa, I just want you to know. So Artie is my best friend. We have known each other since we were 11. She hasn't always loved me, but I always love her.
It took me some time. Some warming up to do.
Anyway, we decided to join forces to do a live to talk about like mutual stuff, and that's what we're doing. I'm trying to get her to make a flatbread at the same time.
At the same time, cooking is not my forte, but I'm trying my best.
So Artie, while I'm preparing this filling and showing everyone, why don't you tell everyone a bit about what you do?
So I am the fearless dating coach, and the reason why I created this series of lives, which I've called In Conversation with an Expert, is because dating on the best of days is challenging. Throw in a pandemic and it's crazy. It feels crazier. It feels so much more frustrating and so much more difficult for people that are so committed, because the vast majority of people that I get to work with are looking for relationships, long-term committed relationships in which they can be in, and it's been such a frustrating time for people right now because the normal ways of dating have been taken away from them, but also for a vast majority of people, they're online, they're dating virtually, but they don't always enjoy it. And I think this is such an opportunity for us, this time that we're in, such an opportunity for us to get better at dating online, learning these skills of how to create deep connection, how to share each other's passions and areas of interest in order to just be that much better at it when we get back out into the world and when we do see our dates and we do get to meet up in person. So this series was created because I think there's so many opportunities and there's so many things, bits of work that people are doing out in the world that can bring so much more to people's dating experiences. And so this has been a really beautiful experience to go on, and journey to go on with the experts that I've had on so far. And one of the reasons why I invited Mel here today is because of it being a Valentine special, and this is that's looking good.
Yeah, no, carry on, babe. I'll speak over. So
so this being a great opportunity for people to think outside of the box in terms of how they can date and have a special Valentine's with their date, whether you're in the same social bubble together during lockdown or whether you're having to conduct your relationship virtually now. This is a beautiful way, just as we spoke about at the start. You know, food is this universal language that unites each and every one of us. And I think there's, as you said, it's so forgiving, right? You can make mistakes and you could be great at it and it doesn't matter. It can still be so much fun. And I think it can bring out the most humble and beautiful parts of us as well, can't it?
There's nothing more basically the thing, what's the humblifying?
Say that again. Amplifying, did you say?
I said humblifying.
Humbling, yeah, there we go.
I think that's it. Why do I forget to speak around you? It's you. Anyway, there's nothing more humbling than, I think, one of the most humbling things is cooking together, for sure.
Yeah.
I do. All right, filling, guys. So I didn't have spring onions today, so I crumbled my feta cheese. I added finely chopped chili. I've got Aleppo chili flakes, or pul biber, as we say in Turkey. I've got toasted fennel seeds in there. Yeah. I'm going to put a few cumin seeds, and you just mix. And I've been generous with the olive oil because don't forget, there's no fat in the dough, right? So the fat is here basically, and what will make the dough all juicy and lovely when you're pan frying it. Yeah.
And the same for the chocolate, for those of us that are using chocolate as well, right? The fat will come from the chocolate.
No.
Oh no, there you go. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's why I don't have a cooking channel.
No, as in the chocolate has fat in it, but it won't. That's not what will make the dough. It won't help the dough fry in the pan. We do have to use, for the chocolate one, we'll have to use olive oil in the pan. But it will make it juicy inside, for sure. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Seeing what's going on in the comments. Rose is saying kids are using the M&M chocolate spread meant for pancake day, and she's doing cinnamon sugar.
Okay,
great,
good.
nice.
Right, so chocolate, cinnamon sugar is good. Do you have any nuts or banana? You could use that in there as well, but just the chocolate and cinnamon sugar are perfect. So you don't really have any prep to do if you're using that filling. All right, so we can get the dough back and divide them up into smaller balls, and then they'll be resting again. And then we can, right?
Oh yeah, much better now.
Does it feel softer and smoother?
Yes.
See?
There you go.
How's everyone? Oh, that looks so good, Auntie. I'm well proud. Guys, how's everyone's dough looking?
Say that again.
How's? I'm just asking everyone else how their dough is.
Yeah, let us know how you're getting on with the dough. I can't pronounce the comment just before Rose's, Mel. I don't know if someone's making a dish that I don't recognise. Can you read that comment?
I don't know if I can see it.
Just before
hey,
Rose's.
She's making çoban aşı. I rather have what you're making. No, çoban aşı is delicious. If it's the same one I know, it's basically just a one pot slow cook in the oven, which is amazing.
I don't know what. Perfect for a cold day like this.
Okay, guys, so we're going to divide this dough into 4, right? Okay, so I'm trying to get can't find my dough scraper, which is fine. So you can
I've got a spatula type thing.
Yeah, cut it in half. Okay, and then half again what you just halved. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, like that. So you should have pieces like this. Perfect, Artie. Right, and just roll. Use the palm of your hand and then cut your other hand and just roll it in between both hands. Yeah? Like this. Okay. And place it back either in your bowl or in a tray. But I think because we're not making a lot, you can put it back in your bowl. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Turkish Pantry have joined us.
Oh, hey, Turkish Pantry.
They're liking
Okay.
the craft.
And then cover again.
Cover again.
To rest. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. While that's happening, I toasted some nuts that I'm going to crush.
I haven't toasted mine. Should I toast my pistachios?
Hmm?
Should I toast my pistachios?
Don't worry, you don't have to, but I love toasting nuts generally.
Why?
Because it brings out the flavour. It brings it back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I always toast my nuts when I use them, just because it brings it back to life. I toast my spices as well, the ones that are seeds. I'm guessing you guys do that at home as well, because you use a lot of spices.
Yeah.
It just brings something that is dormant, because it's been dormant for a while, back to life.
Yeah, especially if they've been exposed to a lot of air, right? It just helps bring that freshness back.
Exactly. So I'm going to just toast. So this is for my sweet. So I'm making a savoury and a sweet one.
Mm-hmm.
So for my sweet one, I'm going to use cinnamon sugar, banana, tahini, and hazelnuts.
Perfect. I'm going to make sure my tahini opens. Open this. Yes. Okay. So is this all, are we using separate bowls for certain things, or how are we doing the sweet one?
No, we don't need any bowls.
Oh, right.
Oh, you mean for the mix?
Yeah.
We're not making a mix. They're going to mix as we're putting it on the bread. So with the sweet one, there's no prep involved really, other than having your ingredients to assemble.
My kind of dish. No prep involved. I like that.
Okay. Any questions, Auntie?
Yes.
While we're toasting and crushing nuts. It's very on theme.
Yeah. So one of the things that really inspired this conversation and why I wanted to bring Mel into this conversation with me is because we both really enjoy Esther Perel's work. And I remember going to see Esther Perel a few years ago. She did a live talk, and she shared in that conversation that when we're looking for a partner, or even if we're in a relationship already, an established relationship, one of the things that can lead to it breaking down or putting unnecessary pressure on it is that we look for a community's worth of support from this one person in our life. This one person has to be our lover, has to be our best friend, has to have some, kind of a similar relationship to maybe siblings, has to sometimes be a business partner, wear a whole set of hats. And this can detrimentally affect the relationship. Now, I've seen this happen with clients where they're really looking forward to being in a relationship with someone, and they are looking for a community's worth of support from their partner. And it's like all the energy, all the focus is going into meeting that partner, to prepare for meeting them, looking at them to be the support for whatever it is that they want to create in life, whoever it is that they want to become. And already before this person has arrived, there is such a weight on them, there is such a pressure on them. And that no one is ever going to live up to that kind of expectation. No one is ever going to live up to that kind of pressure. But what that also I found has caused in not just my clients, but people that I observe wanting to be in relationships, is that they become so singly focused on the creation of their relationship at the exception of their lives. Other things that would bring more to the relationship, would allow them to be more in the relationship, would allow them to be more attractive to their partners. That's all put to one side. Now, I think, that one of the things that is so key, and again, one thing that I've witnessed in you and what you have the ability to do is really create a supportive community And I think this is a similarity that both of us have, in that we have different communities in our lives that fulfill so many different roles, and bring so much to us, that we have even more to say, even bring to our relationship to each other.
So true.
Right? So could you speak to that a bit more, about what role does community play in your life and your relationships?
I mean, you're so right about Esther Perel. Like, it rings so true to me as well. I mean, she talks about it in romantic relationships, and I've seen the importance of that for sure in those relationships that I've had. But just in all kind formats of relationships, where just think of it as, I just think the more layered you are, the more connected you are, the more you bring to, the more present you are with whoever you're with at the time. It's just about being present, I think. Like, if you're, you know, it's what you said, it's what you're, the more nurtured you are outside, the more you get to, the more you bring in, the more new things you bring in. Because I think relationships are organic things, and we forget that. Like, they're living, breathing things. They need to evolve. They need to be constantly nurtured. They're not, it's not something you attain and then put on a shelf. You know, you're deciding to work at it and commit to it, really. So I just think, why community has been important to me is because it's how I feel more grounded and connected to who I am as a person. I think I learn more about myself the more I create a network, really. You know, I think also, you know, coming from the immigrant background I do, having to leave what I consider, what we considered was a community, you feel more motivated to build one again. And also you realize how important it is when you've lost one, how important it is to in giving you a sense of yourself, a true sense of yourself. Because essentially, you know, I think Western society, like, is so individualized. Everything is so individual, you know. Oh, love yourself, take care of yourself. Yeah, all good things, self-care, you know. But I think people don't realize self-care involves, you know, care into the community and your relationship, you in relation to the people around you, and being aware of what's going on around you, and deciding how you want to interact with the society you want to be in, you know. So yeah, I don't know if any of that makes sense.
So how do you feel you have nurtured your community during this time of lockdown and distancing?
For me, yeah, like it's been really, really hard for me at times, and because I'm so used to being out there and getting involved and volunteering or doing different things. And I think I went into this thinking, there's this quote, limitation breeds creativity. And I thought, okay, we're going to be in a time where we're more restricted, but that's when we're most creative, when we're most challenged. And it was like, well, how can I be useful during this time? Like, what are the things that are being most challenged? And it was looking at how to make food accessible and people to feel like they can cook amazing food with the simple things they have at home, or and how to make things last as well, and through that, how to make it something that nurtures you as a person, and then therefore nurtures people around you, you know. And yeah, I think it was to also tell stories as well, and go, okay, I'm going to show up in a real way, but I want you to show up in a real way too. And how we can, even remotely, therefore, by being really authentic, we can create warmth that we couldn't even create if we were in person, but being not authentic, you know. And that authenticity virtually could create this warmth and this connection.
Yeah,
you know.
that's been a huge area and huge topic that I've been exploring on these lives, and also, you know, with clients, about being willing to take the lead with what you're sharing, with the stories that you tell. You know, if you have the ability, and we cover this with a lot of depth inside the Fearless Dating coaching program as well, where we learn the skills of how to be the one that's willing to take the lead. Because, you know, we've all been there on a date where, you know, someone's asked us a question, and it might be quite a, you know, quite a prodding question, where someone's like, it's like, oh, where did that come from? And then they just go silent, and you're left there having to be the first one to answer that question, which can sometimes create that gap and that distance between you and that person, because it's like, whoa, it throws you, and it's almost like that moment where in Mastermind, right, where the lights go down and yeah, exactly. Whereas and that can leave us feeling isolated, as opposed to, if you're going to ask a question, to be the person that leads. Well, do you know how that has worked for me, or the way that I've practiced that, or that happened to me when, and share your story first, to create that opening, to create that safe and sacred container for that person to be like, oh, it's okay for me to share this, it's okay for me to express question. Really, really important. So top tip for Fearless Dating here is always be willing to take the lead when you're asking questions, right? Ask the question, but ask it in a way that then you can share your personal experience, or an example of when this has happened, or whatever it is has happened to you. So that creates a really beautiful safe space for then your date to then say, oh yeah, and this happened to me there, or immediately connection can happen, because then they can ask you more questions about your experience until they get to a space where they do feel really safe and calm, and then are able to start sharing their own personal experiences as well. Isuri's here with us. Hello, Isuri, lovely to see you. Are you cooking with us, or are you observing? Where are we going next with this?
Okay, are you ready? It's time for the serious bit. Like, it's the bit where we're rolling out our dough, we're going to put our fillings in, we're going to twist it up, flatten it out, and then fry it in the pan. So it's happening. All right, so take one of your balls.
Got my ball.
Yeah, you just one ball at a time.
Don't grab too many balls, people. Just one at a time.
Just one at a time. One at a time. Give it tender loving care. Okay, so we're gonna dust our surface with some flour. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're going to just sprinkle some on top as well. Okay. Pat it down, and then with your fingers at first, with your hands, flatten it out and push it out. Push the edges out. Like this. Okay. Like this. Right?
Yeah.
Then get your rolling pin. You're going to start rolling. Okay. So when you're rolling, we want to roll once, turn about 30 degrees, and then roll again, turn, and keep turning, yeah?
Yeah.
And the reason we keep turning is because it keeps it round. Okay, but also because it prevents it from sticking it to your surface, and you just grab the flour from around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't press down too hard.
Okay.
Okay, just lightly, and because your dough should be really soft. Anyway, so you shouldn't have trouble rolling it out.
So what kind of thickness are we going for?
We're gonna try to get as thin as we can. Artie, because the thinner it is, the more it will be really crispy when we fry it, and we'll get a lot of filling, so it won't be, we don't want it to be bread like, we want it more to be like a pancake, not like a pancake, because we want it to be crispy on the outside, and you want to get a big burst of filling, basically, right? So the thinner we can get it, the more we can achieve that. You can turn your dough over as well.
It's like
So
a chapati, really.
Basically,
Yeah.
a chapati or and when it's filled, it's a bit like a roti, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it going?
Yeah, I've got. Don't know, should I go thinner than that?
Definitely thinner.
Yeah.
Do you see how mine's looking?
Okay. Yeah.
Quite thin, and I'm gonna get it even thinner. Where I want you to see the light coming through it.
Oh right. Okay.
Okay. So every now and then you can just take it in your hand. Okay. And just flick it from side to side, like this. Yeah. It dusts any excess oil off. I mean, not oil, flour.
Yeah.
And also it helps, it just stretches it out naturally. Like
that. I think I can go a lot thinner with mine. Mine's still pretty thick. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Just seen a question from Rose. So for the sweet one it's a mixture of chocolate, tahini, banana, cinnamon, and sugar, as opposed to individually.
Yeah. Well, it's Rose. It's just to do with preference. You know, it's really what you can be totally flexible with what you put in there. Okay. So if you've got if you want to do a plain chocolate one, do a plain chocolate one. If you want to do a chocolate and banana one, you can do. I think banana and tahini go well together. Think of tahini like a nut butter, like a peanut butter or an almond butter. So think how well that goes with like banana or chocolate. You don't have. I would say. Oh, that's really good, Artie. Super thin, perfect. You don't need it any, and it's a good size. Your one.
Yeah.
It's a really good size. Yeah. I would say, Rose, with the cinnamon sugar, you don't basically. I think you can halve those two fillings. Do one like cinnamon sugar banana one, and tahini, and then do one chocolate with nuts. You can put a few bananas in there. Yeah. So do a mix.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to do a savoury one, and then I'm going to do a sweet one.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
going to get a bigger frying pan.
Artie, can you see it well? Yeah.
Yes,
What
I
I'm
can.
doing. Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to bang and clatter a little bit. I'm going to get a bigger. Actually, do we need a bigger? No, we don't, because we're going to fold it up, aren't we? We're going to fold up.
Yeah. We're going to fold and twist. Don't worry, you don't need a bigger one.
So I should be putting what, tahini, sugar, etc. inside?
Yeah. So are you using bananas in yours?
I've got bananas. I've got chocolate.
What do you want to do? What do you feel like?
I think I'll go chocolate and cinnamon sugar.
Chocolate, cinnamon, sugar. Yeah, I love that. You can put a bit of nuts in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How many? So I've got buttons like this for chocolate. How many would you recommend?
I would say, so think of it like, look how much of my surface I've covered, right? So I'm thinking 5 maybe for your, like, you don't want to go overboard, but those buttons are quite big. I think you need to crush them a little bit.
Okay.
Artie will break them, because don't forget your dough will break open if it's too chunky, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So about 5 buttons broken into pieces.
Yeah. So if you're using a banana, guys, just crush it in a bowl, and you can just spread it out like I am. And then if you're using cinnamon sugar, just sprinkle it on top. You can drizzle a little tahini. So don't mix them all in a bowl. Just lay them all on your bread, on your dough.
Do you think chocolate and tahini and cinnamon sugar would be a good combination? Yeah.
Delicious combination.
Okay.
I'm going to do a sweet one to show you guys in a second as well. So with the savoury one, I've used half of the circle is so it's like a semicircle filling that I've done. Yeah? Okay. And you don't want to overfill it where it cracks, but you don't want to underfill and have a dry, mix. So I might take a little out. And it's really juicy and oily Yeah, so that the flour, the mix, the dough isn't too dry. So I'm just gonna start rolling this like a cigar.
Ah,
Okay. So let me know once you've rolled.
okay. I'm just putting some nuts in. How much sugar and cinnamon should I be looking to put inside this?
So two tablespoons of cinnamon sugar.
Okay.
Yeah. Just sprinkle it all over it.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm grabbing my dough that I've rolled and I'm just lightly banging it and stretching it out a little bit so it's slightly longer. So I'm going to twist it around. Tell me when you're ready, actually, Artie.
I'm just putting some cinnamon in there. Oops. And then how much tahini am I aiming for?
I would say a couple of tablespoons as well, just to drizzle like this. Just to drizzle over it like that.
So should I be going all the way to the edges?
Yeah, you can with the tahini one, with the sweet one. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh. So it's quite generous with the portions per flatbread.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah?
That's a lot. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. So I'm rolling into a cigar.
Yeah. Okay. And then you hold one end.
Yeah.
Let it hang down. Hold the other side. Right?
Okay.
Oh shit, my one broke. Sorry. Okay. Twist it round your hand.
Oh.
Okay. And then tuck the edge under it like this. And then place it on the surface. And then just flatten it out. And you will have bursts. Like it might burst through.
Yeah, mine's burst.
It's fine. My one's bursting too. It just makes it tastier. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I roll it with, or just pat it with my hands? Yeah.
Just pat it with your hand, and you should have something like this.
Yeah, I've got tahini squeezing out.
Lovely. It's going to be delicious. Oh, that's delicious, babe. Flatten it out a little more. Don't be afraid of it bursting, because those bits that seep out are just all these gnarly, crispy bits that will be amazing once you fry it in the pan. So turn your pan, the heat under your pan on. Okay.
What heat are we going for with the pan? Mick, my girlie, we are making fun-filled flatbreads for Valentine's Day, Valentine's special. So my one, I've got chocolate, tahini, cinnamon, sugar in mine, and Mel has got a feta filling.
Feta chili and chili with spice filling, yeah.
So
Let
what?
me think. Medium high. Okay, and then drizzle a couple of tablespoons of olive oil into your pan.
So you have to be quite generous. Wow, my tahini's oozing out of my flatbread. So quite generous with the oil then.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to get that to heat up a little bit. The pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Artie, can I see the dough? Just
I don't know if I'll be able to lift it up. Hang on.
Lovely, but it's quite thick, babe.
Yeah, if I squeeze it more, then okay, I'll squeeze it more. I'll take a chance. It's like oozing. Let's go. Especially one side seems way more generous than the other, so.
Hey, Mick, don't worry if you've missed it. This will be posted on Artie's feed,
yes,
so you can watch it back. And also, we posted the ingredients list as well, so you can see it on her feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I should push mine anymore because I think it's at its limit.
Okay, turn the heat down a little bit. Make sure it's not too hot, the pan. Like, it needs to be heated up, but not crazy. Right? Okay. So are you ready to put on the pan? I'm just going to show you guys here.
Okay, I'm going to do the
Yeah?
same.
Do you hear the sizzle?
Yeah.
I'm now putting it on the heat, And we're going to just keep turning it every few minutes so it gets crispy on both sides. I'm going to do another one. I want to do a sweet one just to show everyone how to assemble it. And Rose, how are you getting on? You've gone really quiet. I want to know how Rose is doing.
So how frequently should we...
Alexander Isaac, how is it going?
Yeah, let us know, boys. Mine is exploding.
Auntie, not everyone can be perfect.
Say that again?
Not everyone can be perfect.
I know, right? I know.
You've got your expert.
This is why
Melly
you
is
have
here.
it.
Hey,
Oh,
Melly.
hello, Melly's Cooks. I've heard a lot about Melly's. I've seen a few of your... I think, have you guys done a live together?
Yeah, we did a live. I made the baklava and Melly's made her kurabiye, which is... I don't know. It's like it's not a cookie. How do we describe it, Melly's? What would we call it anything in English? We just call it a kurabiye. It's delicious. It's like filled. Melly's is like, okay, it's fried. Melly's, we're making flatbreads.
Yeah.
This is smelling good. It's time to flip, Artie.
Yeah, I had to flip mine. I didn't do the professional flip. I just got the old.
Yeah. No, let's not play with our lives.
Yeah. Yours looks well better than mine.
Yeah. Oh look, Melly says it's like a buttery shortbread filled with nuts. We love nuts.
There you go. And Melly's, if I'm correct, you're Turkish Cypriot, aren't you?
Yeah.
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 That shortbread that you did, was that a Turkish Cypriot dish?
Yeah, it's a Turkish Cypriot dish. That's dessert that is made like for special occasions and stuff.
Yeah. And that's the other beautiful thing about cooking, right? You get to learn so much about each other just from explaining, well, this dish is from here, this region, this is how we would eat it, because certain dishes are made for certain occasions as well.
Yeah, it's those rituals, like the thing I posted.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask you about that because that's a really important thing, because obviously I've watched a lot of your lives and your stories, and I remember watching the one yesterday about the Alevi tradition that you had. It was a celebration that you had, yeah? Yesterday or the day before?
The day before that, so it was Thursday.
And so there was a ritual involved in that, with like the breaking of bread together and the yogurt, and of course that is the...
I'm flipping again, by the way.
Flipping again, yeah. I've had to flip because mine, gotta say, guys, not looking great. Mine is looking quite...
Can you show me? Look, we won't judge. Can you show us yours, please?
Hang on. Wait.
Oh, thank you.
My chocolate has exploded everywhere.
Let me see.
So...
Doesn't that look delicious though? I think it's delicious, Artie.
Okay.
That looks pretty cooked. I think turn down your heat.
Yeah, it was a bit too high.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I see 123 Rahmet. I know this lovely lady. She's saying the Hizr
That's it.
stories was really... Thank you for watching it. Means so much. Okay. Right, so just keep turning. Now make sure your heat is on a medium heat, because also we want it to cook through in the middle, yeah? So whilst it's getting crispy on the outside, we still also need it to cook through in the middle. Whilst that's happening, I want to show you guys how to do a sweet version as well. So again, sprinkling my surface with flour.
I'll put it onto a low heat. So that it doesn't burn, but it cooks the inside.
Okay.
Oh my god, mine looks crazy.
I think your one is probably done, hon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll move it there then.
Yeah.
Wait for it to cool down. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, Mel, like, what do you feel? What role do you feel ritual plays in the like really nurturing and creating your community? Because that was the really beautiful thing about watching that story that you shared yesterday about your family coming together to celebrate and break bread together. But also, I know that's such a big part of what you share on your channel. For example, is it the salcha making ladies who get together?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's such an important time where you get groups of women coming together in the park to dry their, is it the tomatoes and things?
Yeah. Tomato paste.
Yeah. So what's the importance of that and doing that with your community?
The importance of doing any kind of activity that's communal, that where it relies on doing something with more than one person, is hugely strengthening, like to create these different ways to create bonds with people, right? When you've broken bread together, you won't ever forget that person. Or when you help them sun dry tomato paste, you know, over the hottest day of the year on a heat wave, because that's when it has to happen. And you have these women who are interacting with each other, talking on WhatsApp groups, going, oh, I heard, okay, this Wednesday is going to be the hottest day of the year, that's when we're making our salsa. And even if they're not making it together, like everyone's making it in their own garden, the knowledge that someone else is making it somewhere, and this is the day to make it this year, and how it just feels so nurturing to them and feel connected. I just think it's hugely inspiring, but also it's just bonds that are so strong because of it. And I've noticed that happen. And I think I find rituals and traditions and things really wonderful that way, how it strengthens your sense of self and builds a community around you. It's integral, but that they don't have to stay the same. So I think there's no, this is how it's done and this is how it will always be. I think it has to grow with you and be flexible and be willing to acknowledge changing surroundings. And I think it becomes more beautiful when everyone can add their bit to a ritual, you know, and to make new traditions as well. You know, I was speaking to someone via message on DM last night when they watched my story about, she said, oh, I miss having traditions and rituals, and you know, I just feel like I don't have any. And I was saying, you know, because she's away from her family, I was like, you just create new ones. You create your community, you create new rituals, you know, and things you do, you know. I'm just thinking, Artie, like what you, Rose, and I do together when we get together, and like what's become a ritual for us. It's something that's like where you add meaning to something that you do and act together over time. That's built over time, right? Priya's asking something.
Yeah, I'm just going to pause for a moment there, because in relation to the creation of community and ritual, as you said, it's like, if you feel that it's missing right now, I think a really beautiful moment for us in the last year as a family was, there were a lot of traditions, a lot of festivals in like the Hindu Indian calendar. And one festival normally it takes place around October, November, and it's usually groups of people coming together to dance for 9 nights. Right.
Oh my god,
and it's really beautiful. And so we dance in like a circle, and I shared some videos and things with you, right? There's a lot of music, a lot of drumming, a lot of dancing. It's called Navratri, which means 9 nights. And last year, obviously, because of social distancing, it couldn't happen. So what you would normally get is like groups, hundreds and hundreds of people getting together in like school halls or community halls, and musicians getting together and people dancing and getting dressed up, and it's a real coming together. And so there's so much color and beautiful spirit. But that was dramatically different this last year, because it just wasn't possible to get people together on that scale, even on a small scale. And so one thing that was really beautiful was a lot of these nights moved online. A lot of singers and musicians and even dancers did a lot of live streams. And a lot of people were then celebrating from home. And it was really funny because us as a family, we don't really celebrate it that much. So we won't go out night after night celebrating it or dancing in the way that way. But what happened this year was because of the way that it was being celebrated, we tuned in every night, the 9 nights. You know, me, my family would have our dinner there, like watch the whole thing. And I found that I learned more about it and I felt more connected to the ritual, to the festivities than I ever had done before, because of this new way that it was being embraced and it was being shared. And there was this realization that this is unlike any other celebration or way of celebrating this that we have had, you know, before, and we may have again. So to find the beauty in the strangeness of it.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying about limitation breeding creativity, but then breeding connection on a different level, sometimes it's created connection on a deeper level, right? Because you're not on standby mode where you're doing things that you're so used to doing, you know, without thinking. Now that it's stripped away, you're having to think about, well, how am I connecting? And how am I interacting? How am I making this happen again? And this tradition that you guys have, this beautiful celebration, you're thinking, how are we going to make this happen this time? But in having to think about it, your mind is active now, and then you're just actively connecting and willing to participate more. And then so it's created this new thing and this new way to connect to something that you have done for years anyway, right?
I think it strips it right back to the simplicity of it, and actually how much more meaningful and beautiful that can be when you just come right back to what was the reason we were doing this in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that happens in relationships, right? In long-term relationships, sometimes we have these rituals, these traditions that we perhaps would have with our partner, and we're doing them year after year or month after month, and then we lose touch with why it was so significant and why it was so important to us. And so many people speak about, oh well, we're out of the honeymoon period now, so it's not, you know, it's not like how it used to be. But what happens when we just spend that moment just to connect back to why was this so important for us? Why was this such a significant moment in our relationship? And connect back to that and try and get rid of all the frills and the extra bits and bobs to make it fancy and just go back to the heart and soul of it. I think that is so important. And I think that's one thing that so many of us have discovered over this last year. We've had to strip things back in a way that we've never had to before. So for example, the friend that you spoke to who felt like she didn't have rituals and traditions to lean on right now, well, this is a great time to start creating them as well.
It's so
right?
true, creating them, exactly.
Yeah,
that's such a good point, Artie.
I just want to jump into the comments quickly because we've got Priya saying, any advice for can't cook, won't cooks like me who really want to cook amazing food for their partner but are really inexperienced in the kitchen? Where's a good place to start?
Start with the thing you're most comfortable cooking with, the ingredient that's your favorite ingredient that you love using. Start with that. That should always be your starting point. What's your favorite vegetable that you feel most familiar with? Because it's your favorite, you're most familiar with it, so you're most comfortable using, and you want to share that love with your partner because it's your favorite ingredient and you want to share that love with them and convince them that it should be their favorite too, right? So start with the ingredient and build from there. So for example, if you love courgettes and you think, oh, I want to do a courgette dish, and then you start thinking, oh, what do I usually do with courgettes that I'm comfortable with? Rashmi's just put garlic.
Yeah, because Priya is the garlic queen. Like, she would wear a necklace of garlics if she could.
Okay, there you go. So start with there's things that you're comfortable doing with garlic and that you use with garlic, but then you think, okay, it's an ingredient I love, but let me do something new with it. So I would say you can like roast the garlic. I love roasting garlic like whole, take the whole bulb, put it in the, wrap it in foil, put it in the oven, and then you make a beautiful roast garlic, then which then you can turn into things like make a really simple pasta with it. So you're adding some confit, roasted softened garlic with some chili and some spices, right? And then just toss one vegetable in it, or like some tomatoes and some spices, and then toss that into your pasta. So start with something you love, because when you start with something you love, then you're going to continue wanting to cook and try more things. When the core is starting from something you like and you enjoy and are familiar with, then you can build from there and start incorporating new things that you haven't done before. Like, oh, I haven't used this spice before, or I haven't tried making a pasta before from scratch. But when you start with something you're comfortable with or you enjoy, then you're more likely to keep going and incorporating new things one step at a time, and also to think one step at a time. Don't try using, the other tip I would say is, don't use a recipe word for word. Don't try to stick to a recipe beginning to end. Look at recipes like guidelines, right? So you don't have to have every ingredient, right? And you don't have to follow it word to word. Start trusting your own palate. So 2 things I would say. Think, oh, what dishes do I like? I like pasta dishes, for example. Say, okay, I'm going to make a pasta dish and my favorite thing is garlic. How am I going to combine those 2 things together? And don't try to learn everything straight away. Take something you're familiar with and incorporate new things little by little with every new thing you try.
That is such a good point. Actually, I was speaking about this with a Q&A I was doing about relationships yesterday, and one of the most common questions that I get asked is, Artie, how do I become more confident? How do I develop self-confidence? And it's exactly this. It's firstly identify that what you want to be confident with, because no one in the world is confident at everything, right?
Yeah.
No one is. And if we try to go in with that catch-em-all approach, we're not going to be focused. We're not going to develop that practice, that expertise, right? So choose the thing that you want to get better at, right? And focus on that, developing like as you said, like the different variations of, okay, if I'm going to use garlic as my base and pasta, and what are the different ways and how can I play with that until I get to a certain level of confidence with that, to have a blueprint essentially to perhaps apply to then whatever your second favorite ingredient is, right? And it's the same with confidence, I think, in any area of your life. Okay, well, where do you want to be confident? Is it that you want to be really confident in social situations? Do you want to be able to go up to random strangers and speak to them confidently? Do you want to be a confident dancer? Do you want to be a confident speaker on stage? Well, focus on that. Focus on that key skill, that one thing. Be willing to fail with it as well, right? That's a big part of cooking, isn't it?
Be willing to, exactly, that you can't make, it's not, you can't make mistakes. Really, I mean, you can, but it's like, don't be afraid of them. It's not about right or wrong. It's on a scale of, this is amazing or not so great, but I'll add this time, and just be willing to experiment. I think cooking is the one thing you can experiment with, really, right? And taste as you go along. I'm going to just quickly show you guys a sweet filling. So I've got some cinnamon sugar here that I'm just literally sprinkling all over my bread dough, right? And I was quite generous with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I should have watched this before I tried my own.
Okay, I'm gonna now I'm gonna drizzle some tahini on it. Oh, actually, I'm gonna use a banana in it as well.
Just reading Rose's comments here. Ours are looking good so far. Slightly burnt on the bottom though. Don't worry, mine is the same.
Half a banana, because this is quite a massive banana.
Okay.
You could crush it, smush it down in a bowl. But I'm just gonna do it slightly here. And you don't have to spread, like I said, with these fillings, you don't have to spread it all over the dough, just in like half of it. Yeah, and make sure you leave a good edge around it as well. Just because when you fold over and everything, I'm just eating some banana. But with the cinnamon sugar, you can sprinkle it all over because it's a dry mix, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just getting my tahini. I'm just giving my tahini a little mix. Okay, so just a sprinkle like that, yeah?
Okay.
Right. Oh, and some nuts that I wanted.
Nice. This looks, well, a lot better and way tidier than mine did.
Okay, so then you're rolling again for anyone who missed the roll. Okay, so if you're not comfortable, so the way I showed you was twist it in your hand as if you're tying a knot and then tuck it under. Yeah, but if you're not comfortable doing that, the other thing you can do is just twist it like a snail.
Yeah.
And then tuck the edge underneath. Yeah, and then press down.
So just for J44Y who's just joined us, I think we're making filled flatbreads for Valentine's Day. So Mel's just doing the sweet version now where she's put ripe banana, cinnamon sugar and some nuts in there.
Yeah.
And there's a savoury version as well with feta cheese.
I'm going to pan fry this, but while we don't have to see that bit, I just want to show you what a finished one looks like. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah?
Yes, nice.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let me attempt to have a bit of mine.
Crispy on the outside, lovely, and filled on the inside, guys. So how's your one?
Oh, it's not that bad.
You did okay.
I thought it looked really burnt, but it's actually the chocolate bursting
It's the
out.
chocolate, right? Do you think yours could be a little crispier, or is it okay?
It's crispy.
Yeah?
I wasn't expecting it to be so crispy.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay. And then, yeah, the cinnamon's coming through and the sugar. I'll do another one with the cardamom, like I said.
Yeah. Well, now you'll have less pressure once you're off live, and you can fill the rest of them. Yeah. That's
really lovely. Thank you so much.
Do you think it's something you'd do again?
Definitely. Now that I have an idea of like what order we're meant to go in, and I think I'd also try the pinwheel style that you just did there. I think especially with the tahini, my tahini was kind of oozing out when I picked it up. So yeah, the pinwheel I think would be really great.
Also, savoury one with toasted fennel seeds, cumin seeds, some chilies, fresh chili, and olive oil.
There's so much. This is like a basic dish, I think, that you could repeat time and time again because there are so many things that you can do with it, right?
So I mean, you can serve this with hummus. So if you're having, not right now, that's illegal. But like slice them up into little triangles and like put them around like hummus. So it's like a nice little nibbly thing.
Little party piece, yeah.
You can have it for breakfast, and you can, like I said, it's a good lunch with some salad.
Yeah, really lovely. Thank you for taking us through that, Mel.
You're absolutely welcome. I've had so much fun.
So did I. This was good. I'm so glad that, like I said, this means so much to me because it is our two worlds colliding, especially at a time like this. For things that we're both immensely passionate about, both our work and of course each other.
Which, I miss you.
Yes, I miss you so much too. And this is so lovely that we've been able to kind of recreate something that we would normally do in person, right? Normally do together, and we're doing it in this way. So I hope this encourages all of you that have been watching live along with us, or who are watching this on the replay, that this is something that you can do with your dates, you can do with members of your family, your friends, to keep that sense of community going, to create some kind of ritual together we've spoken about here today, right? Like this could be something even after, you know, we step back into the post-pandemic world, that this is something that you keep and you do together, and you look back on this time like, do you remember where this started? Yeah. Do you remember where this came from? And look, we're still doing it together, and all the memories that you share together, I think so important. And there's something that I wanted to share actually, but which I heard a few weeks ago, and I thought it would really resonate with you, Mel. It was actually a thing that Prue Leith, the baking lady, judge, the baking lady, the judge on, what is it called? Great British Bake Off. You can tell I don't spend much time watching or not. Do I know anything about cooking people?
Carry on, babe.
So, basically, she was saying, she was on this podcast and she was sharing how after her husband passed away, the lady that was interviewing her was sharing like, well, you know, they were such a close couple. They brought so much to each other's lives, and how did she get through such a tragic loss in her life? And one of the things that she shared was that she was so grateful that she had other stuff that going on in her life that was her own, you know, that wasn't just associated and attached to her husband and their relationship together, but she had communities of support outside of the relationship. She had other activities, passions, and that is literally what she said, you know, saved her life and gave her life after something so monumental happened. So important for us to have these communities that we actively work to create and cultivate and nurture during these times. And what ritual can you create together? What shared experience can you create together that will bring more to you as a person? And then when you are in that beautiful relationship with your dream partner, that you can bring it into that space as well.
So true. So true. That's so beautifully put.
Thank you. I have to thank Prue, the baking lady. I had a final question. Actually, I have two final questions for you.
Okay.
What does soulmate mean to you?
You.
Thank you. Hi.
Do you want? Okay. Do I have to like actually?
Something we don't burst into tears on this live.
I almost cried. You know. I promised.
Okay, breathe.
Try not to burn the flatbread at the same time. But I think soulmate, one is not one person.
Yeah.
And I think that would be unfair, you know, to try to impose that on one person, like going from what you were saying. And I think it's not, I also think it's not someone that you have to have everything in common with, right? That's not, I don't think that's what soulmate means, not to me anyway. I think soulmate is someone I feel like in flow with. So there's just a rhythm, like you just catch on to each other's rhythm, and that you can be your favorite person around, that you're comfortable being you around, who you where you're willing to, that you enjoy yourself most with, really. And that it doesn't take a huge amount of effort to be around each other. I think that's for me. And I think you can find soulmates in different places, in different kinds of relationships, whether romantic or not, whether in your family or friends. And I think to seek them in different places keeps life alive and fresh, right? And I don't think a soulmate needs to be forever. It just needs to be a really powerful and authentic connection. And it's beautiful whilst it lasts, right? And it's okay if it comes to an end.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully said, beautifully put.
Do you think so?
Oh, yes. I love that check-in. Do you think so? Yeah, 100%. And of course, for us, it's such a, I think, a shared understanding of what soulmate means. And you know, if someone asked me the same question, I would absolutely respond in the same way of, you are my soulmate, and the connection and the relationship that we have is absolutely that, you know. And it can look so different to people on I'm always fancy steering up.
And also Rose,
Rose, exactly, is part on our WhatsApp
well.
group is called the Soulmates, right? And that, yeah, if I guess to bring it all together, to me, soulmate is community, and that's what we found in each other.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, so beautifully put, Artie.
What we found in each other, absolutely.
What
and
we've
this
got
is
in
an
each other.
opportunity that we have to experience so many different types of relationships, so many different types of connections, and each soulmate can be so different from the other, but bring so much to your life, I think.
Yeah. But if there was like a hierarchy of soulmates, you and Rose are at the top.
Of course, of course. Aziz has joined us.
Late as always.
Late as always, right at the end. So my final question to you would be that, what does fearless mean to you?
What does fearless mean?
To you.
To me. Oh, I mean, fear. It's so funny. If you ask, like, what is important in the journey you're taking right now, I would say being fearless, right? But trying to break down what fearless is, I think is really. I'm just thinking it's difficult what fearless is to me. I think fearlessness for me is not questioning the validity of your voice, right? And what you have to say, and the value of what you have to say, or the space you occupy. I think for a long time, I felt like I had to justify the space I occupied in a place. Like, and I was speaking to this woman who said, it was like this intuitive woman, this woman who like understands like energies, and she said, since you were 7, you go into a space and you analyze how you can be useful, and you try to work out how you can be useful. And I think there's this inherent thing in justifying why I need to occupy a space. And I think fearlessness for me is just owning that space and going, I have a right to occupy it just because I exist. And then therefore being free, because then that liberates you. I think fearlessness is feeling liberated in not questioning every step you take, right? And being really present. Fearlessness is being present and not like stepping out of yourself and questioning what you're doing, but being so present enough to really create and be authentic, and therefore create and do the most amazing work you can do and make the most amazing connections you can make because you're being present.
Be here and know that you have a right to be here.
Yeah.
Well, that is a beautiful note for us to bring this to a close, I think. Thank you so much, Mel. Spatula drop, exactly. Mine's got covered in olive oil, so I won't. Thank you so much, Mel, for doing this with me. This is going to be a monumental moment that we look back on until we're old and grey, and I think it means so much to me to have you here to be doing this work alongside me. It means so much to me, everyone who's joined here today and been taking part in the live. We've got Rose saying, thank you girls, we really got into it and the kids can't wait to try. It's too hot right now. Let us know, please do. Send us pictures on Instagram, post pictures of your flatbreads, and remember to tag Mel and I in them so we can check them out and we can salivate over them virtually as well. And then we've got Hinel saying thank you, Mel, they look young. Jag has already tried one without letting me take a photo. How dare you? Make another one for us. Rashi says thank you ladies, can't wait to experiment with making these. Yes, I will hand over the kitchen to my sisters so they get a chance to try these out as well.
You've got them out, haven't you, with the kitchen?
Yeah, I've taken over. Mick McGurley says, thank you both. Learn something new and delicious, yummy face. Awesome. Always hungry fat says, thanks guys, they look delicious. Thank you so much everyone for joining us. Priya said, can't wait to eat the one that you just made. I'm going to make you make one. Thank you so much everyone. I will be posting this live on my channel as a replay for you to access anytime. Remember, if you're celebrating Valentine's Day tomorrow with your date virtually or in a bubble, put this on replay and yeah, get cooking together. Remember, this is a great opportunity for you to create a new ritual together. And I really look forward to having you or seeing how you get on with them. And I look forward to seeing you. We're going to go back to the original schedule for these lives. So I'm going live next Thursday at 6 p.m. GMT with the amazing Ken Page, the author of Deeper Dating. He'll be joining us. I can't wait to have a conversation with him about his book, about his own journey to finding deep connection with his wonderful husband and the family that they've created together. If you want to hear more about that, do join in and join us live. I can't wait to have that conversation with you and with him. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mel.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Happy Valentine's to everyone.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better person to spend Valentine's with.
I feel like...
Technically, well, it's tomorrow, but still, to do a Valentine's Day thing with.
Yeah, exactly. I think, as Priya was saying, we should make it a Valentine's weekend. So we have, yeah, so we've just done it. We've just established it as a Valentine's weekend. Thank you so much. Love you too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.